the incoming White House press secretary, incoming White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre's partner, Suzanne Malveaux, works at CNN. Brian Stetler actually brought it up and said he asked his own network how this is going to affect Suzanne's coverage and what she can and can't cover. I give him a little bit of credit because he was one of the very few that actually talked about that. But I think that there's too much of a cozy relationship with CNN right now. What are your thoughts on that?
For sure. For sure. I mean, it's like church and state stuff, right?
Newsmax's Sean Spicer and fired Fox Business personality Trish Regan aren't happy with new White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. They're arguing that Jean-Pierre's relationship with CNN correspondent Suzanne Malveaux is a conflict of interest awash in liberal bias. But Spicer hasn't always been so concerned about how personal relationships affect political coverage. Spicer and Regan didn't say a word when then CNN correspondent Campbell Brown reported on the 2012 Mitt Romney campaign, despite being married to Romney senior advisor Dan Senor. But not everyone on this panel was willing to humor Spicer's fixation on Jean-Pierre and her personal life. Newsmax contributor Mark Halperin pushed back on Spicer's argument that Jean-Pierre's relationship means all of CNN is now in the pocket of the Biden administration. Here's what Halperin said.
Mark, it's not just that relationship, but how difficult does it make it in the briefing room when you're looking down and saying, my spouse works for the network that I'm about to take a question from?
Look, it's tough because I don't think any family member, whether it's a significant other, a spouse, a parent, a child, I don't think it's fair to punish them and have their career harmed. I think CNN should, as Trish suggested, move her to a beat as far away as possible from this. But I think as long as it's disclosed, as long as there's scrutiny of the way CNN covers the White House, the way the White House treats CNN, I think that's the best you can do in this case, because, again, it's just not fair to penalize someone's career because who they happen to be in love with.
I agree with that, but my bigger point is I think it taints CNN as a whole. Anyway.
And in this case, Halperin's right. This isn't the first time a news network has navigated a sensitive relationship between reporters and the government officials they cover. Networks have clear processes for reassigning reporters who are romantically connected to subjects. At least most do. Fox News and Newsmax are notable exceptions. Take Fox News' Maria Bartiromo, who covers Wall Street, something her husband, Wisdom Tree Investment CEO Jonathan Steinberg, would know a lot about. And Fox News personality Kimberly Guilfoyle moved directly from Fox News into a cushy job on the Trump campaign she covered, before announcing that she was dating the former president's son.
The best is yet to come!
Fox News never took action on these conflicts of interest, and Spicer sure isn't going to bring them up himself. That's part of the grift, and he's hoping you won't notice.
I think it says when Obama admits that this is a bad thing. It's, quote, his words, unsustainable.
Well, he's right, but I don't believe there is an open borders policy. You know, they sent a lot of Haitians back on planes the other day, which is exactly what you all wanted them to do. So that's not an open borders policy.
Can I just hey, Joe,
I didn't see the context
when you say,
of the question Obama answered, whether it mentioned Biden or not. As a general rule, an open borders policy would not be workable. That's correct.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and I've been waiting to get my hands on this clip. Sean Spicy Spicer, the original devil's mouthpiece, got himself his own show on Newsmax. And if anybody wants to find that channel, just speak into your remote and say things like Russian propaganda, and I'm sure that it's going to pop up. But before we get into that and this jackaloon's idiotic comments, let's talk about his hair. This numbskull turned the hairdryer on and forgot to turn it off. The reality is people in South America have had a rough run for quite some time, and these people are so desperate that they will risk it all to come to this country for a chance at a new life. When someone shows up on our border claiming asylum, under our very own Constitution, they're granted their day in court. That doesn't mean that every person that seeks asylum is granted it, but it does mean that we treat each person as just that, a person. We don't wrangle them up like cattle that some law enforcement officials on the border chose to do.
Tonight about this video appearing to show Border Patrol agents confronting refugees aggressively on the Rio Grande.
I don't think anyone seeing that footage would think it was acceptable or appropriate.
The conditions under the International Bridge in Del Rio, Texas, a border town 150 miles west of San Antonio, also raising eyebrows.
People on the far right scream that they're in favor of legal immigration, but are they though? or are they in favor of white people coming here, but just not black and brown people? Oh, and one other thing that might shock you, Sean Spicer is lying, because after all, that's what he does best.